get ready because everything is about to change. There's a new way of living life and doing business that will blow your mind. This is a podcast all about the timing of life and the timing of success. It's what we call the Right on Time life. And you are listening to the Right on Time podcast with Amber McHugh. Hey, welcome to the Right on Time podcast. I am so pumped to be diving in with you today, bringing you a guest, my friend, Missy Campbell. Missy, there is just so much that I want to share with you, and we are going to dive into with Missy. She, formally speaking, offers social media strategy and implementation with a focus on Pinterest and Instagram, content repurposing, podcast promo to increase your presence and profit for creative online entrepreneurs. And she's a mama to 4 and an Army wife of 22 years. Whose husband just retired. There are lots of stories in here that we're going to unpack today. But Missy, I am so grateful to you for being here and carving out some time. Welcome to the Right on Time podcast.
Thank you, Amber. I'm excited too.
Missy and I have been talking. Since the moment I met Missy, it was not quite a year ago. 7 months ago, let's say.
Yeah, end of last year.
Last year, officially introduced. I knew that I wanted to introduce you to this community because of the mindfulness. Actually, at one of our retreats, one of the names that came up for Missy was Mindful Missy. And it is so true. You're so intentional. You are so mindful. You bring such a calming presence to everything. And throughout everything you do, there is so much beauty in simplicity in what you're doing. I know there's debate on that with you and your husband, but there's so much simplicity. And if ever there were a time that the need for simplicity was right on time, it is now. So we're going to dive into that today. Just to dive in, let's talk about it. There is a video podcast with this, and we are recording this on audio as well. And so just to give everyone a sense, I am sitting in a bathroom right now because I'm in Chicago. We just moved into a house, and my girls and I are home alone today. And we don't have any of our things. They're all still in Ethiopia. And they're like, where are you gonna do that, Mom? I'm like, well, I was gonna sit in the living room, but they're in the living room. And they're like, why don't you go to your bathroom? You have a desk in there. So that might explain the echo if you're listening. I'm leaning in. I've got towels around me. But Missy, where are you today?
I am in my office, and you just heard my dog eating outside the door, and I'm sure one of my kids will walk in just a minute. So that is simplicity for me.
It's beautiful. I love it. You're in your office. You bought this house how long ago?
A year ago at the beginning of July 1st, it was a year.
Gosh, a year ago. Congratulations. And I'm bringing up your house specifically because there's some cool stories wrapped around your house and your business and the way that you structure your life. So who pays the bills at your house?
I pay the mortgage, which
is
exciting. Yes. We had been looking for a whole year for a place, and I always envisioned a place where I could do retreats. I wanted to have like an Airbnb that I could also use as a place to do retreats when I wanted to, for really intentional business owners. And we looked for about a year, actually, in 4 states. And I drove to Pennsylvania, which is where we are. It's where my husband's from. And I'm from upstate New York, so I'm close to my family too. I drove up here to look at houses, and we actually looked at the house across the street from the one we bought during that time. I drove back home having found nothing. I get home, and a few days later, my husband says, "What about this one?" And I kind of went into this quiet time where I stopped looking because I was a little disappointed that I'd taken this big, long, 3-day trip to look at houses and came home. And this one had come on the market about 2 days after I was here. And I had like missed when it came on. And I used to look every single day. And so my husband's like, what about this one? And I said, I'm going this weekend. And I just drove up 7 hours, looked, drove home, and we put in the offer before I even left our house to drive up here.
Gosh.
Because I love the neighborhood in town so much. So that is the story. And yes, that is possible because of what I do. And my husband, being retired, said, no mortgages. We're done with mortgages. Our other house was paid off. We're not going there. We're going to live a very simple life. Yes, we are, but we're going to do big things. So I said, I'll make it happen. And I'm making it happen, which is exciting. And Amber brings it up because I said at our retreat, my goal is to pay it off in 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
And that feels really exciting and doable to me and a little bit scary, but I'm making it happen.
You are making it happen. It's on track. You're moving towards it. And you have this incredible track record, right? You set goals and you reach them, you manifest them, you're very intentional and focused in going after them. You create a plan, you redesign plans, right? I think every time we have a conversation, and we have a good bit of them, there's a tweak happening to the plan, and it's intentional, it's strategic. It's not willy-nilly, right? There's a focus behind it. So as you think through this plan, actually, we got to tell one more cool story on this intention setting, then we'll go deep. I'm going straight to the good stuff, and then we're going to peel back the layers here. One example of like Missy's mind-blowing intention setting and focus and power of manifesting. We were on another call, and you said, I want 3 clients, 3 new clients. And what happened?
Yes. So I said I wanted 3 new clients. I sent out 3 emails, and in 3 days I received 3 responses with yeses. And it's funny because I have a client who's a little woo, and she's always like, your number is 3. And then that happened, and Amber and I were joking about it. Yes. And it's funny, talking about manifesting, I didn't really know what manifesting was officially until a few years ago. Yeah. Denise Duffield Thomas. And I have always manifested. I always would decide to do something with no real plans for how to make it happen, just that it was happening. And then it would just happen. And it was, the steps logically seem impossible. Like something costs X number of dollars, or the timing of it, or whatever. And then even in high school, it's like, I'm going to go to Ecuador for the summer right after I graduate. How am I going to go to Ecuador in the summer? I mean, I was poor. Who am I going to stay with? How's this going to work? And I just decided. And then I met somebody, a couple, my local Spanish teacher and his wife were going to go, and they said I could go with them and live with her family. And it just all happened, and it was amazing. And so many times things like that have happened for me. And my daughters just say, you just decide and then it happens. That's how things work for you.
You just decide and then it happens. I think that's so beautiful, because however someone feels about manifesting, or if you don't know anything about it, even backing it up, right? If you're intentional and you know that you want something to happen so badly, or you're not even that attached to it that you want it to happen so badly. You just know that this is meant for you. And that was me in the move to Africa. I don't know for how long of my life, I just knew that I was meant to be in Africa. And I know, now I'm temporarily back in Chicago. I know I will get back to Africa. It's all just aligned in what's meant to be. And when you make that decision and when you have that knowing, things start to align. But I also agree, and you use this word very specifically, I think you are intentional about it. And then you start to put plans and step into action around some of these things as well. So can you speak to some of that intention and that planning and that mindfulness that you wrap around that decision?
Yeah, I would say the first thing, intention is exactly the word. And it's just, you envision that's where you want to be, kind of your future self. Like, yes, I want to be there. And then you just take a step toward it. And like in my mind, and I hear this all the time, it's like once you take the first step, it's that you're there. You're there, you're already walking toward it and it's there. And so that is, now that I understand manifesting, I can see it in that way. Before, I didn't know the steps, but now I see, yes, set the intention, it's out there, picture your future self in that place and take the first step, and you're already walking toward it and it exists. And so that is, I think intention is the perfect word. That's one of my favorite words. And I think another thing is, as you're taking the steps, because there's always that messy middle where it's a little bit of doubt and do I actually want this? I think the word I would use for that piece of it is sustainable. And it's like, how can I take one step every day and move toward the thing without feeling overwhelmed? Because we reach a point where we want to get there too fast. We want to push it when it's not ready. And I think sustainable is the word I keep in my mind.
Yes.
How can I get there? And when it doesn't feel sexy anymore and it feels a little bit too hard. So yes, one step every day. And you get there if you take a step every day. At some point you get there.
You get there, you take that forward focused action. And I love that you brought up the push, because so often throughout our lives, like I was walking by very distanced from a t-ball field the other day, and I heard the parents yelling, right, hustle, hustle, hustle. I'm like, oh, I get it. Like, I get the context, but I also processed that we are learning so early on in our lives to push and to go and to get in there and make it happen, right? And yes, we want to make it happen, but it doesn't always have to come from that place of push. And what is one step? What are two steps? What's a couple of baby steps I can take every day? They add up. And I think of it a little bit as what I call the Genie Effect. I literally wrote about this in my master's program. Like, it's the Genie Effect. When you're trying to create change in your life, it doesn't necessarily happen overnight. And when it's happening overnight, there's probably a good bit of push and struggle and a little bit of pain to make it happen. And sometimes there are things that we need to happen like now, and it's going to hurt, but it is so important, or it's so urgent that yes, we're going to do this. But other times it's going to take time, and it is so important, and it's so necessary, and it's so deep and embedded in our learning over 20, 40, however many years it is.
A lifetime.
It's a big year for me. That it's going to take more time to unpack these things, or it's a big project. We're starting a new business, right? We're growing our business. We're 5Xing our business. Well, that doesn't happen overnight, right? It might happen in a month. It might happen in 12 months, but baby step it. And you sit with things, right? You look at the big picture, you sit with it, and then you pull things through. One of the other things at our Accelerate retreat in Tampa, before we had to distance, that we all were in awe of, Missy, was your paper planner. I didn't tell her I was going to call this out. If you're listening, she just pulled up the visual. So you could see the visual on YouTube, but she's got a massive planner that takes up the whole screen, and it's just white pages with lines. It's lines, right? Not dots.
It has dots, but I draw lines on it.
Oh, it has dots, but she draws, so it's both. That's right. That's why I had the dots in the memory. And everything that you're processing, not only for yourself, but for other people. Like, as I was talking as well, you were coming up with ideas, and a couple months later, like, oh yes, I've got those ideas right here. You flip back to them, you're writing, you're collecting, you're processing. So many times people are like, I'm not well organized. I need a project management system. ClickUp, Trello, Asana, Monday. Like, there are a lot of great options out there, but you opened this work of art on a piece of paper. So I want to talk about how you organize and get things done simply in your day-to-day life. Because not only do you have 4 kids, you are homeschooling these 4 children in a
Yes.
beautiful way, and they're doing incredible things. And you've been homeschooling for a while. It's not just because of the current state of
Always. They've
affairs.
always
They've
been.
all always been homeschooled. Oh my goodness. So tell us more about how you pull all of that together with simplicity in mind.
Yeah, I would say, back to the planner, that all has been an evolution. And that is another word for me. And even like in manifesting, as you set your intention and you sustainably take steps, there's an evolution where maybe that thing you're walking toward changes.
Yeah.
And I think so much of my planning it is literally an evolution every few weeks. I feel like some new thing is simplified in a different way, a new process that works a little bit better for me. So really that big planner, it's like a 2-week spread, and it helps me see the big picture and not get tangled up in every little tiny detail. Yes, there are little details and 10 things I need to check off every day, but it lets me see that big picture all at once. And I need that. I've tried all kinds of every kind of planner. And like, if I can only see the day, I feel lost in where I'm going.
Yeah.
I get tangled up in these things that aren't part of where I'm going. And so I know that I need that. And as far as that moves into like the home life, I would say early on, starting with homeschooling, my oldest daughter started college last year. She's always been homeschooled. And I tried the, 6 to 7 subjects a day and exhausted myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, if I can only do 3 things for my children, what will they be? And I decided I really only had 3 things I needed them to be able to be as good adults. And the rest, they can use their own strengths to build on what they want. And really, they can do anything they want if they can do these 3 things. And those 3 things I decided were problem solving. So good, strong math skills, logic, all of that. That was important to me. And the other thing is speaking. And by that, I don't mean public speaking necessarily. I mean looking people in the eye of any age when they talk to them, sounding intelligent, being respectful. That always felt extremely important to me. And the other one was writing in a clear way and being able to convey your thoughts in writing, because obviously if we're using computers in the digital world, we need to be able to convey our thoughts through writing. So I decided if those are the only 3 things they can do when they leave my house at 18, I did my job. And yes, they're going to learn art and they're going to learn science and we're going to read together and all of those things. But at the end of the day, those are the only 3 things I need them to have done. And that simplified everything for me and took away the need to do it all and what I was supposed to be doing, but what I really feel in my soul is all I need to provide for them. And that allowed so much freedom. And they all have a very strong interest in something that they spend the majority of the day doing.
So cool.
Yes.
I was just reading, and I know for any parents that are listening or anyone who's, reading the news and watching what's happening in schools right now, a lot of people are looking at homeschooling and wondering, are these hybrid options? How do we manage this? How do we navigate this? So one question I have is, when you started into this journey, how did you think about this? Did you look at a lot of resources? Did you wing it? Did you partner with like a homeschooling program? She's
All
nodding.
of those things. Yes, when you start all of those things and like everything's a journey, everything's an evolution. You're always learning what works best for you. Some people aren't comfortable with the 3 things. Like they need a curriculum, and which we do have, but the priorities are the priorities and everything else is the cherry on the top and not the meat. So yes, definitely I like very holistic things. So very, literature based, very strong math programs. I just like to get to the core of it and not have fluff. No time fillers. I just need the basics covered really, really well. And then I just want to spend time talking to my kids and allowing them to develop their skills, allowing them to ask questions, have a lot of books available, direct them to finding answers to their questions.
Yeah.
And really that has become the model that we follow. And it's been really good. And my daughter started college at 16, my oldest, and she got an A in chemistry. She has never taken chemistry in her life. Like, talk about problem solving.
Wow.
Never taken chemistry, took college chemistry, didn't take high school chemistry. She was taking it for high school and college credit dual, and got an A. And I was like, this proves that problem solving works in any situation. So if nothing else, the basics and what feels really important. And I always say to my husband, because he often gets overwhelmed and wants the details and they're going to do all these things, I say, when they're adults, what matters? Because that's how they're going to spend the majority of their life. And who are we helping to shape them as now? And that is all that matters. The details matter almost not at all.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. And again, the pull through of your intention and your focus. And congratulations. Oh my gosh. And it's your oldest, you said, who got the, yeah. I'm like, if I had brow sweat throughout all of that, I would be like, okay, phew, I can relax. It works. Oh my goodness. And our oldest is in college now, and we've got the two younger ones, 9 and 6. And our schedule is looking like 2 days a week and in school, and 3 days a week at home, online learning. And, there are incredible teachers, and we're all innovating and we're all learning together. And part of me also wonders, like, I don't know, should we try this? Like, what can we do at home? But Missy, you know how my days go, and I get really immersed in what I'm doing. And I don't know, they might not get the love and attention they need, but your kids are pretty independent.
They're very independent. And that is another, I would say that is probably the bigger goal. Even that's like the umbrella goal above all of the main academic goals, is to make them independent of me as soon as possible. And I don't mean I'm pushing them away, but I just let them make mistakes. I let them fail. I ask them what they would do, because I want them to know what they would do and start making decisions as soon as possible how to manage things. And really this last year, with everything going on in the world, and my husband was deployed the entire year in Kuwait. He just got home a month and a half ago. They were mostly unschooled from my perspective in what I did with them. I mean, I was here all day long, but they are independent. And I told them, do 2 things a day. Like, I was like, they have their curriculum, choose 2 things a day. At least I know you're moving forward. And then that was my way of getting through the year. And I decided intentionally, without guilt, that that's how I can get through and keep moving people forward at some level. And we will sort out the details when my husband gets home, and it'll be fine. And there is no behind, as you know.
Right.
And that's what I've said. My husband, when he came home, he felt a little overwhelmed by where everybody was in the workbooks and things. And there is no behind. And a child who's motivated, who's never taken chemistry, can take chemistry and get an A. Things are possible. So they will be where they need to be. When they're adults, they will be amazing adults. I have no doubts about that. So I'm not concerned about the details of right this minute.
Yeah. And that's incredible. And as you think about, things are possible. It is possible. And for everyone, as you listen to this and you're thinking, right, as I sit in a space of overwhelm, and we're sorting through, what are we doing with schools? We're sorting through business changes that keep on coming as we adapt and pivot, and different cities are doing different things right now. It is all possible, right? Yeah. And we as entrepreneurs, right, whether we're just starting out on this journey, right? If you were just starting out on an entrepreneurial journey having that inkling and having that interest, you've got the skills and you've got the aptitude, right? It's there. And we know this simply by the fact that you are intrigued. To be intrigued, like to even have that intrigue in this space, there is a spark. It is there. And if you are on this journey and you've been on this journey already, we know that you have the ability and you have the foundational skills to grow this, to navigate, to evolve. So it is possible to be able to navigate and grow this and do this. And it all becomes a little bit more possible. And it happens, I think, a little bit faster when we weave in the simplicity that you're talking about, Missy. And how do you think that building in simplicity into your strategies, into everything that you're doing in your business, accelerated your growth? And because your business has grown and was built fairly quickly. Would you speak to that a little bit and how simplicity has been a factor in that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it. And a lot of it comes down to that intention, obviously. But for me, like knowing how I want it to look in the future always is, part of manifesting. If you know human design, there are various types. I'm a manifesting generator. So having that intention of where am I going and how, not taking on things that don't align with that at all. And knowing, pricing wise, knowing what you're worth, and all of that stuff is a big part of it, because you can so easily get stuck in this place where you don't stand out, where your prices are the same as everybody else's. And even if you offer something better, you still can't stand out without some defining factor of how you want your business to look. What are the things you're really good at and you're offering? And I think for me, that's been very clear from the beginning. It probably was clearer in the beginning than it is now. As I'm evolving through this, I'm willing to try many new things, which is what happens as you grow. Ideally, you should be very niche and focused and have very clear idea of what you're offering people. And I think as you grow, you can experiment with more things. So that's where I am now. I'm in this evolution where everything's floating and I'm not sure where I'm landing. And I'm okay with that, because I do still see the big picture. The big picture is pay off the house, have a business that I love and I'm proud of, and then, move on to a next stage in things. And so I just see each stage as part of the process, but definitely being clear in what that thing is and allowing it to evolve when it needs to. But definitely write down what that thing is, because you might forget and you might start going in another direction that's not the direction you intended to go. So be clear on what that thing is and picture yourself in a year. 1 year from now, who am I? Where am I? All of those things, and just start walking toward it. I would say that has, from the beginning, has been how I grew. And I would say, as a business owner and growing and setting the intention with what is the purpose of my social media platforms? So you don't spend your energy on everything. Maybe you choose 2 things. Maybe social media isn't your thing at all. I mean, I grew my social medias and I don't even use social media now for my business. I use one-on-one connections with people. And I think that is, even growing social media though, the important thing is picture yourself growing one connection at a time, one human connection at a time, and not, I need 10,000 or need to reach everybody, and just staying true to each person as you go and helping them. You'll get referrals that way. And that is always, I just would reach out to people I knew. And that's how I grew my business, just really being intentional about the relationships I'm building as I go.
Yeah. You also have, and I've seen some of this in action as I've gotten to know you. And one of the things that really impresses me is you pull in relationships and you pull in the simplicity into that focus on, for example, Pinterest and Instagram. You mentioned 2 social media, like focus on 2, focus on 1. Maybe social media isn't your thing, but I'm thinking of, like, let's say the 2 channels are Pinterest and Instagram. And when I hear you talk to people about their Pinterest and their Instagram strategies, Missy is like, oh, it's simple. I've got you, right? There's a confidence there. And then that confidence is backed with, here's what we're going to do. Here's what you do. Here's what we do. I can do it. You can do it. It's simple. And there is a total detachment. And this is certainly part of our right on time way of living philosophy, a total detachment of who's going to do it. And you know, and you share and you build the relationship knowing that it's all going to work out, right? But you have also boiled and designed your process in a way that it's clear, it's easy for you to implement. You need certain information, you execute, and then results follow.
Yeah.
And I want to repeat that because that is so key. We have the plan, we set the intention, we get in action and execute, then results follow. And it can be a simple process. It can be a simple system. And that's what you do with your clients. And then like magic happens. Like you were working with someone we mutually know. And I hadn't heard about it for a while. And then she popped back up on the call. She, oh, it's working, by the way. That Pinterest thing, like it's going, it's happening, it's coming.
And it's so, for me at this point, like I know what works and it feels like magic. And when I see other people struggling, I'm like, it's just these 4 steps, and it's just these steps, go through, do this, then do this, it's all about that foundational, what's the goal of it? How can we automate it and make it as simple as possible so it doesn't require much of our attention on the other end? And that's really how I do everything.
And we have such a tendency. We, and I say we, I'm not calling anyone out. I didn't say you. If this is you, don't worry. You are not in this alone. We have a tendency as humans to overcomplicate things.
Yes.
And it is just the reality. And even as I look at plans that we write out, and you talk about this evolution, we can constantly be simplifying even a simple process. We'll learn something like we don't need to do that anymore, or this process changed, or this system changed, so we can cut things out. And sometimes we'll keep doing things just because this is the way that we do it. Do you have to do it that way anymore? Is it still serving you? If not, let's adjust. And especially as we're in this environment, in this climate where everything is changing. And we were talking about this a bit earlier, that everything is changing, and we may find that we want to run our business in an entirely different way. And I was even having ahas, like, I've been having ahas that, oh, wait, this is the way I've been doing business, but I haven't declared it, and I haven't claimed it, and I haven't stated it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be very intentional and very clear that this is how I show up. And it's only because of the current climate that all the words, right? And the clarity came for me as well. So as these things are revealed to even us as individuals, it is okay to always be learning. And when we learn something, we will do better.
Yes, absolutely. I love that, Amber. 2 things. So, talking about something feels really big and complicated, I say to my husband and my kids, we have 2 minutes to feel overwhelmed. And then we need to start thinking that knowing there is a solution. We're not going to whine about it for 2 hours. We're not going to whine about it for 2 days. We're not going to feel overwhelmed because there is a solution. There's a solution to every problem. Maybe the solution is you remove yourself from the problem. That could be the solution. Or the solution is there's something I can do. And I'm like, you have 2 minutes, be overwhelmed, have that sinking feeling in your stomach that it's way too much and you don't know what to do and it's not what you expected at all. And then this is what I'm going to do.
I love that. 2-minute rule. That's it. If you are in as you listen for the 2-minute rule, you got to let me and Missy know. That's it. There's also someone taught me, she's a card designer, quotes card. She's hilarious. Chaz Gagne. We'll link her up. But she has a saying like quack, quack, shake it off, like water off a duck's back. So I say to my kids, I'm like, oh, we are spinning. Like, let's find the problem. Like quack, quack, shake it off, kids, quack, quack. Oh, now all we have to do is just say quack, quack. And they know, like, time to pivot. Let's get into that problem solving mode. But I love it. Quack, quack, 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. And then quack, quack, shake that off. Let's flip to problem solving mode, because you're right. There is always a solution, even if it's that we walk away.
Yep. Sometimes that's it. And I think the other thing is, given, and like you were saying, with everything going on in the world, we are being forced to change and change quickly. And for some of us, me, it brought so much more work my way because people are being forced to be home and they're ready to work on their online business. So we just have to be willing to evolve and evolve quickly if we have to, with the same vision still out there. So, as far as like these one step at a time, that's lovely. But sometimes we have to say, I'm in a sprint. I'm in a week-long sprint. I'm in a month-long sprint, because it's part of the bigger intention.
Yeah.
And we have to just be open to those different energies and times as they come, and not get stuck in, it's not on my spreadsheet, it wasn't my plan, being open to the opportunities. And when the whole world flips upside down, obviously we have to flip upside down too, and just keep going and being ready for moments. Okay, for this month, I tell my husband I'm going to the Airbnb. You might not see me that much, but there's an ending to it. It's not forever. There's a reason why that has to happen this month. And then we'll go back to one step at a time. But for right now, we have to do something else. So there are times of slow and steady, and there are times of sprinting. And that's all part of the plan.
It's so true. So that ability as a leader to be able to adapt and adjust, and okay, this is the plan. We're going to get back to it. We'll get back on plan later. But right now, right on time, something else is demanding my attention. And we've had that over and over again this year, right? We've had important things come up and we have had to shift our focus. And we did that in the Planathon. We're like, all right, we typically turn these videos off, but our Planathon, our mini Planathon that we did mid-year was happening. We're like, people have other things to focus on right now, other important things happening in the world. We're going to let those videos stay up longer so people have more time. So it could be small adjustments that you make for your clients. It could be adjustments you're making to your plan, and it could be adjustments that are bigger, but we get back on track at some point. Or maybe things change. Maybe there are adjustments that you make that are bigger, that align with your vision in a bigger way. And you leave room, again, for that magic to be revealed. And even still, when you're in that space of change, I would say, look at, because it can feel, for me sometimes, and maybe it feels different for you, Missy, when I've got like, oh boy, we're in that space of change, like it's coming at me fast, woo, 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 woo. Like, okay, we have to move back to okay, we're leaving Ethiopia, like, oh, tomorrow, I gotta go tomorrow, whoa, what do I have to do? I got pack, and like there's a lot coming at you and you've got to move fast. You've got to pivot fast. Clients need things fast. There are demands coming at you fast. Kids are at home, whatever it may be. I still want to encourage people. I'm dreaming of Missy's list as I say this, like identify, all right, what are those things I need to do? And then break it down. This is what we need to do. Make it a list. If you need to bucket it, okay, think kids. This is what I need to do for the kids. This is what I need to make sure I put in my suitcase. We got almost everything packed with us from Ethiopia. We left one thing like, oh, honey, could you bring that? And then he forgot it too. He left a couple weeks after. I'm like, dang it. That's all right. Not a big deal. It was obviously not the highest priority since we forgot it. We both forgot it. But what are those things? Because when we write things down and we start to give some sort of a structure, even if it's on paper and it's not in an advanced online technology project management solution, as beautiful as they are, right? You can still make it serve the purpose that we need to move to the next level and to get into action when it's on a quick Post-it note. And Missy, it's so funny. Someone said to me the other day, Oh, I was working with a client actually, but I was the client in her position, and we were working on some shoulder tension. She's like, "Oh, put a Post-it note on your computer to remind you to adjust your posture." I'm like, "Oh, Post-it notes? I got nothing."
Oh, I got Post-it
You
notes.
got Post-it notes. So take whatever you got, borrow some Post-it notes from your neighbor. Like, it can be messy. Just take a moment to recenter yourself. So again, we come back to intention
Yeah.
and know that it's okay. We'll get back to the bigger plan. And that
Yeah.
fluidity and that adaptability is going to be one of your biggest gifts as you navigate this as a modern CEO and leader.
Yeah. I love it.
Oh, Missy, I love you. I love spending time with you. I don't know about you as you listen to this, but when I hear Missy talk, I feel calm and her mindfulness just transfers right on over. So thank you. As people think about their Pinterest strategies, their Instagram strategies, and want to do something simple with that, or they simply want a taste of simple from you and want more and want to learn more about how you are reaching these goals over and over again, where can people learn more about you?
Yes. And I do want to add one thing first. So, everything you were saying, getting all these ahas, as we feed off each other. So I just like in these overwhelming moments, the 2-minute rule, okay, I can do this. And then the question I always ask myself, is this an ongoing problem? Is it something I've encountered before? Is it something I'm going to encounter in the future? Or is this a one-time situation I just need to get through? If it's been a problem in the past and it's something that I need to come up with a system for, or if because of where I am in my business, it's in the foreseeable future, it's something I'm going to be dealing with ongoing, questions to ask yourself in a difficult, overwhelming situation. And I would say my most satisfying thing I do in my business is when I identify in a problem that this is an ongoing problem and I can set up a system. Like, I would say that's where like my whole soul shines. I'm like, yes, we get to set up something. And the next time this comes up, it'll be nothing or very little. And so I think, stepping back, this is a problem, but is it a one-time? If it's a one-time problem, easy. Check off the 10 things, got all the things we need, everybody's taken care of, kids are taken care of, we got everything we need for the meal, okay, we're good. Or is it something that I'm going to have to do again in the future? And how can I set it up right now so the next time I do it, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad my past self did that for my future self. So much easier now. So I would say that is, for me, the most exciting thing about moving through life and planning and everything.
I'm so glad that you added that, because that's so important to building in that simplicity. If we're doing something over and over again and it's breaking and let's get that fixed.
Yes, yes. And like literally that's like the excitement of my life, sad as that might sound.
That's good. I get it.
Love it. So yes, people can find me. It's tasteofsimple.com. That's my website. And then Taste of Simple everywhere on social media. So I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, all of the places. Taste of Simple.
So if you are going to use this 2-minute rule, if you are embracing simplicity, and if there was a nugget out of this episode that you are embracing and stepping forward with today, Missy and I would love to hear from you on Instagram or your social media channel of choice. I am at Amber McHugh and Missy is at Taste of Simple, and we would love to connect with you in all the places. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, you are right on time in everything you're doing. Keep showing up.